Garamendi, but as he explained himself, he was concerned about the political consequences of a Supreme Court ruling that kept the former president off the ballot. I think, it's going to be up to the courts to apply Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, but without a doubt, the January 6th committee did show that the former president engaged in insurrection or gave aid or comfort to those who engaged in insurrection, which is the language that is used in the 14th Amendment that would prohibit people who conducted such activities from being on a ballot.
So do you feel good about the fact that the committee's work is being used as a legal basis here for this? Do you think that that's justified, or should he be actually charged with insurrection and formally convicted first?
I think that the January 6th Select Committee provided a lot of information that has been used not just in this court case, but in a number of cases, whether that's Georgia or otherwise, as it relates to prosecuting the folks who committed crimes on January 6th. January 6th Select Committee really was the first time where we painted a full picture of what happened. As you might recall, in the days and months before the January 6th Select Committee began our hearings, the American people saw bits and pieces, the phone call to the Georgia state officials. They got little pieces of what happened in the run-up to January 6th. But really, it was the Select Committee that painted the broader picture, the full narrative of all of the activities at the local, state, and federal level to try to change the outcome of a fair and free election. And so it's not a surprise to me that that information and that evidence is being used by the courts.
So if it is indeed being used in the courts and therefore matters to the courts, do you think it matters enough to the American electorate, to the base that this former president appeals to, that does not seem to be swayed by what the committee presented or what frankly, the courts or other legal authorities have to say about the matter?
I've been a bit dismayed by the short term memory of the American electorate. I think we did see an initial impact from the January 6th Select Committee hearings in the election that immediately followed. We saw the American people reject election deniers pretty much across the board, across this country. But now there are other issues that are crowding the voters' minds, and they're starting to sort of set aside the shocking and stunning activities of the former president on January 6th and focusing on some of the other issues that are more important as voters go to the polls. As an elected official, I was a member of Congress, and every campaign, we always talked about what matters to people when they go to the polls. And usually it's about economic security and physical security. These more lofty ideas of democracy sometimes are a bit harder to ask people to cast their ballot purely based around that. And unfortunately, that's really problematic, because you can't have a strong economy and physical and community security without having a functioning democracy.